I came home early from a weekend getaway with friends to surprise my husband, only to overhear him on a call. This marriage is a total disaster, man. Every morning I wake up wishing I'd chosen differently. He went on. If it weren't for her family's wealth, I'd have walked out ages ago. We'd just celebrated our 3rd anniversary. Stunned, I slipped out quietly, returning later as if nothing happened, even greeting him with a warm kiss. 5 days later, he bombarded my phone with 27 calls in an hour, clearly realizing I'd overheard him. I'm typing this with trembling hands, sitting in the bathroom with the shower running to muffle my sobs so Ethan doesn't hear. I've rewritten this post at least 7 times, struggling to process it all. Ethan and I have been married for 3 years. He always felt authentic, unlike the pretentious guys I met through my family's affluent circles. My family's well off, not billionaire level, but comfortable enough that I've never stressed about money. Ethan grew up in a modest household. We recently renewed our vows in an intimate ceremony with close loved ones, and he got emotional, tears streaming as he called me his greatest blessing. My friends and I had planned a girls' trip to Nashville for months, spa days, vineyard tours, and a trendy rooftop bar we'd seen all over social media. But the trip fell apart when Lauren got sick from some questionable food, and Mia had to deal with a work crisis remotely. So we cut it short, and I saw it as a chance to surprise Ethan, who always sent me sweet missing you texts with pouty selfies. I grabbed his favorite tacos from a local spot and some artisanal beer he loves, picturing his delighted reaction. I entered through the garage to keep the surprise, our house's odd layout hiding the living room from the entrance. I heard him talking upstairs in his study, clearly on a call since no one else was home. I set the food down and crept upstairs, planning to jump out mid-conversation. Then I heard it. This marriage is a total disaster, man. Every morning I wake up wishing I'd chosen differently. My heart stopped. I waited, hoping it was a joke, but no laughter came. If it weren't for her family's wealth, I'd have walked out ages ago. The only perk is not worrying about bills anymore. My chest tightened, my world crumbling. That vow renewal last weekend? Absolute agony, dude. I had to spout all this sappy nonsense while her family ate it up. I've nailed the act, though. Award-worthy. He chuckled, a sound that pierced me. But it's worth it for the lifestyle, right? Her dad's hinting at pulling me into the family company soon. Once I'm set there, I'll have freedom. More than just being the rich wife's husband. The rich wife. That's what he called me. 3 years. And I'm just a paycheck to him. Somehow I tiptoed back downstairs, grabbed the tacos and beer, and left. I sat in my car in a parking lot, crying for hours, mascara streaking my face. A kind stranger tapped on my window asking if I was okay. I lied, saying my cat had died. I returned the food, claiming Ethan was unwell, and texted my friends that I'd checked into a hotel to catch up on work before heading back to Nashville. I drove aimlessly, replaying every moment of our marriage through this devastating new lens. His insistence on paying for cheap dates, his hesitation to accept my help with his debts, his big dreams that only materialized when my dad offered connections. Our anniversary gift from his parents was a carved sign for our foyer, where our journey begins. I'd stared at it that morning, thinking we were starting a new chapter. But to Ethan, it was just a transaction. I went back to Nashville, faking normalcy with my friends while drowning in wine and heartbreak. When I returned home as planned, I kissed the man who called our marriage a nightmare like everything was fine. For 5 days, I've lived this charade, sleeping beside someone who regrets me, dissecting every moment we've shared, questioning what was genuine. I checked our accounts. Ethan's been making sneaky withdrawals, $150 here, $250 there, just below our agreed discussion threshold. Is he stashing cash for his exit? Is there another woman laughing at me, the rich wife? I haven't told anyone. Not my friends, not my family. My dad sees Ethan as the son he never had. This would crush him. I've been subtle, though. Yesterday, I accidentally left my private bank account details open on my laptop. This morning, I mentioned my dad might scale back his business due to market shifts. I've been staying late at work, being slightly less warm, taking private calls. Our bathroom faucet's been dripping for weeks, and Ethan promised to fix it. Last night, I hired a plumber without telling him. When the guy showed up, Ethan was baffled. I shrugged, saying, "You seem tied up." The $90 fix in 10 minutes visibly irked him, like he was tallying the cost. "It's working." Ethan's rattled. Today, he called me 27 times. While I was out, then sounded frantic when I called back, asking if I was upset or if something was wrong with my family. I played it off, saying my phone was in my bag at the store. The silence on his end screamed guilt. I know I need to confront him, but I want to be calculated. Our finances are intertwined. Joint accounts, my name on the mortgage, his on the deed. Part of me wants to scream, but another part wants to pull back emotionally, secure my assets, and document everything. Let him think it's fine until it's not. I've been lying for days. I can manage a few more weeks. Gotta go. The hot water's running low, and Ethan will wonder why I'm showering so long. I'll kiss him goodnight and sleep beside him, plotting my escape. Edit. Ethan just texted about a weekend getaway to reconnect. The nerve. I'll update soon. First update. Thank you all for the incredible support. Your words have carried me through the last 2 weeks. I've been cautious since Ethan started peeking at my phone whenever it's nearby. It's been 14 days since I heard him call our marriage a nightmare and admit I'm just his ticket to an easy life. 14 days of sleeping next to someone who regrets me. 14 days of playing a role I never signed up for. I decided to be strategic, no outbursts until I'm ready. I made a list, protect my finances, gather proof of his deceit, for family questions, not court. Uncover the depth of his lies, plan my exit, and build a support system without spilling everything yet. First, I secured my personal bank account, changing passwords and adding verbal security questions. I've been quietly transferring small amounts from our joint accounts to avoid suspicion. Is it sneaky? Maybe. But learning your husband's a fraud shifts your view on ethics. That reconnect trip? Ethan's idea. I suggested my family's lakeside cabin instead of his fancy resort pick. His face fell, but he quickly masked it with, "Whatever you want, love." I saw the disappointment. It's all clicking now. His push for lavish expenses when my family might foot the bill, but penny pinching when it's our money. At the cabin, with spotty Wi-Fi, Ethan was glued to his phone, pacing the dock for a signal. I overheard him complaining to someone about being stuck in the boonies and promising to make it up to them. Who and how? He claimed a 2-hour Walmart run after we got back, but our joint card showed no Walmart charge, just $50 at a bar across town. I casually mentioned my dad might retire early due to health concerns, a total fabrication. Ethan grilled me about Dad's plans and our financial future, barely mentioning the health scare. It was like watching a mask slip. Digging deeper, I found he's siphoned $15,000 from our accounts over 3 years for vague business ventures and investments, especially before trips to his hometown. Is he supporting someone there? While he was at the gym, I searched his desk and found a prepaid phone with one contact, Kay. Dozens of texts about meetups, money, and a long-term plan. One from months ago said, 2 more years, and we're good. 2 years until what? I photographed everything and put it back. I've been tweaking my behavior. Less affectionate, more private calls, mentioning our family attorney casually. Ethan's unraveling. He went through my closet while I was showering, leaving my shoes out of order. I'm particular about them. I caught him checking my tablet's search history, where I'd left tabs open about infidelity and separate accounts. He babbled about loving my dinner. I was making curry, not pasta. Our fridge has been clicking for months. Ethan swore he'd fix it. When I suggested buying a new one, he spent hours tinkering instead. He's suddenly tackling every neglected chore. The creaky bedroom door, the dim porch light, the shaky dining table. It's like he's auditioning for Husband of the Year. I've been meeting my friend Sarah weekly. She's the only one who knows and is now my confidant, helping me set up a secret email and urging me to document everything. Last week I was at a cafe, not a client meeting, reading about betrayal and taking notes. Ethan showed up with dinner, a first in 3 years, fishing about a call he overheard with Sarah about big changes, actually about redecorating. Those 27 calls, triggered by bank statements I left out showing his withdrawals. He saw them, panicked, and blew up my phone. When I called back, I played dumb. What's the crisis? My phone was in my bag. He stammered about me seeming distant and my dad's business plans. I said, why would anything be wrong? His silence was heavy. Last night, he suggested another vow renewal for family who missed the first. I said maybe next year, and his relief was obvious. He thinks he's still got time. I've met with a lawyer Sarah recommended outside our social circle to explore options. I've moved key documents and heirlooms to her place under the guise of a photo project. This morning, Ethan hugged me, crying, saying he felt me slipping away. I almost confronted him, but remembered his award-worthy laugh. I patted his arm, said work was hectic, and watched his tears vanish when I mentioned canceling our luxury New York trip. The confrontation's near. I want him to feel the ground shift a bit longer, to taste the betrayal I've carried. Petty? Perhaps, but after having my reality shattered, I think I've earned it. Edit. No kids, thankfully. Ethan always delayed, citing one more goal before starting a family, likely waiting to secure his payout. Edit 2. Ethan texted about dinner at my parents' this weekend, claiming he misses them. Sure he does. Second update. It's been a month, and so much has unfolded. Your support has been my lifeline. Thank you for every comment, even the ones challenging my approach. I've doubted myself too. Since learning Ethan married me for my family's money, I've been meticulously planning my exit, aiming to confront him once everything was airtight. But things accelerated. That dinner at my parents'. It happened last weekend and was revealing. Ethan was in peak charm mode, praising Mom's new decor, quizzing Dad about his investments, helping my sister with her sound system. To outsiders, he was the ideal son-in-law, but I saw the scheming behind every move. At dinner, he mentioned looking into properties near my parents' place. Dad noted the area's rising value, and Ethan's excitement was palpable, like he'd hit the lottery. Later, I caught him browsing homes way out of our budget, saying Dad had hinted at helping with a down payment. Dad hadn't. The next day, I met with Sarah's lawyer, who was fantastic, clear, empathetic, and detailed. Our prenup offers some protection, but the financial paper trail could weaken Ethan's claims. While I was there, Ethan was spiraling at home. I'd left my laptop open with flight searches to my aunts in Oregon, part of my exit plan. He greeted me with an over-the-top dinner, wine, candles, the works, but his charm felt frantic. He kept saying how much he loved me, not my family, and then dropped a bombshell. He wanted to try for a baby. Now this from a man who's dodged parenthood for years. I nearly laughed. I said I'd been reflecting on our future since Nashville. His hope turned to panic. I asked if he meant his vow renewal words about me being his greatest gift. He swore he did. I leaned in. That's odd because I heard you tell Mike our marriage is a disaster, that you regret it daily, and you're only here for my family's money. His face went white. He spilled his wine, frozen as I recounted his words, calling me the rich wife, the vow renewal agony, and his plan to bide time until he's set. He tried to backtrack, claiming he was venting during a low moment, but I pressed, explain how calling me a financial stepping stone was a misunderstanding. He couldn't. He shifted to tearful apologies, saying he was in a personal crisis and loved me deeply. I watched his performance, seeing every gesture as calculated. When he asked if I was leaving, I said I hadn't decided, lying to keep him off balance. The next 2 weeks were a masterclass in manipulation. Flowers daily with pleading notes, calls to my parents about my odd behavior, suggesting therapy, ironic. Notably, he avoided mentioning my family's money, dodging the truth he'd exposed. I moved the rest of our joint funds to my private account, ensured Ethan couldn't touch family assets, and stored essentials in a secret unit. Telling my parents was brutal. They adored Ethan. Dad wanted to confront him, but I asked them to wait. Our washing machine broke, and Ethan, usually cost-averse, pushed to fix it himself. I suggested replacing it. He agreed instantly, desperate to seem carefree about money. At a friend's dinner party, Ethan was overly chummy with Lauren, whom he usually finds extra. When her boyfriend brought up a news story about a man scamming his wealthy wife, Ethan went quiet, mumbling about relationships not being what they seem. I just asked for the pepper. On the drive home, he asked if we were okay. I said, maybe check your conscience if something feels off. He flinched. This morning, he was flipping through our wedding photos, claiming nostalgia, but his eyes screamed panic. Tomorrow's meeting with my parents and advisor, which Ethan thinks is routine, will cut him off from all family finances and reveal the divorce. By noon, he'll face the consequences of his lies. Edit. Ethan texted about a fancy dinner tonight to treat me before tomorrow's meeting. If only he knew. Final update. Thank you, Reddit, for your unwavering support. Your encouragement kept me afloat. Here's the final chapter of my story. The meeting with my parents and our advisor, Mr. Thompson, was a master stroke. Ethan thought it was his chance to cozy up to the family fortune. Dad opened by asking if Ethan had anything to share. Ethan, clueless, said no. Then Dad presented a file. Bank statements of Ethan's secret withdrawals, texts to Kay about his endgame, and a transcript of his call labeling our marriage a disaster. Ethan's face cycled through shock, fear, and calculation. He tried to dismiss it as a misunderstanding, claiming he was stressed and didn't mean it. Mom snapped, calling him a leech and saying she'd misjudged him. Ethan appealed to her bond with him. She scoffed, asking which Ethan was real, the vow renewal crier or the one who mocked it. Mr. Thompson outlined Ethan's removal from all family accounts and trusts. Dad announced divorce papers would arrive that afternoon, giving Ethan 24 hours to clear out. Ethan, teary-eyed, asked if I'd discard 3 years over one dumb call. I replied, "You discarded it when you saw me as a bank account." The divorce moved fast. My evidence of fraud expedited things. Ethan initially demanded half of everything, including future business interests, but his claims crumbled against my proof, withdrawals, hidden accounts, and his recorded confession. He settled for far less than he wanted, more than he deserved. In mediation, his lawyer claimed Ethan supported my career and family business. My team played his rich wife recording, dismantling his case. His defeat was satisfying. These 6 months have been a whirlwind. Anger, grief, shame, doubt. My therapist helped me see Ethan's manipulation succeeded because he was cunning, not because I was foolish. Trust isn't weakness. Breaking it is. I moved into a cozy downtown apartment, all mine, decorated my way. The first night was tough, adjusting to the quiet, but it felt like reclaiming myself. I laughed loudly at a cafe last week, unbothered. Ethan used to hate my boisterous laugh. My bond with my parents has grown. Dad apologized, feeling our wealth made me a target. Mom's in protective mode, sending me gold digger articles and pushing vetted blind dates. I'm not ready. Sarah and Lauren have been my rocks. Mia, sadly, sided with Ethan initially, believing his story. Running into his friend Mike at a store was awkward. He avoided me, clearly fed Ethan's narrative. I don't care what his crew thinks anymore. Ethan showed up at my place wanting to explain with a letter I nearly burned. It mixed apologies with excuses, claiming he grew to love me despite his motives. I shredded it, unmoved. He's now dating a colleague's daughter, who's been warned but thinks he's misunderstood. Her choice. I've taken up baking. Ethan always controlled our kitchen. My first decent apple tart felt like a win. I still have tough days, questioning how I missed the signs, fearing trust issues forever. But the divorce is done, the house sold, my share clearing old debts and invested. Mom sent me a photo of Ethan at a gala with his new girlfriend. I felt relief. He's not my burden anymore. That second phone? Kay was Kayla, Ethan's cousin, in on his scheme. The money wife is gone. Here's to just plain Emma.